सुधागड एज्युकेशन सोसायटीचे पूर्व प्राथमिक, प्राथमिक, माध्यमिक व उच्च माध्यमिक विद्यालय कळंबोली मराठी, हिंदी, इंग्रजी, उर्दू माध्यम यांच्या सौजन्याने शैक्षणिक व्हिडिओमध्ये आपलं सर्वांचं स्वागत आहे.
Hello friends, in last few articles we discussed about circular motion, its characters, dynamics and some examples, as well as we are discussing about vertical circular motion. Now we are discuss about rotational motion. This rotational motion as well as its dynamics and some applications. In last year we studied that to apply the kinematical equations, we take certain physical quantities like as linear displacement, linear velocity, linear acceleration. When we want to replace a rotational analogy or we apply this kinematical equation for rotational motion, then these quantities can be replaced by angular displacement, angular velocity and angular acceleration. Thereafter another thing is also studied. To set the translational motion of the body, force should be needed. To set the rotational motion in the body, a torque should be needed. Means force produces a translational motion and torque produces a rotational motion. So force and torque are the analogous quantities. Thereafter we come across certain physical quantities like as force equal to mass into acceleration, linear momentum, mass into velocity, and kinetic energy equals to half mass into velocity square. Look, all these quantities means force, linear momentum and kinetic energy are related with translational motion. In order to see the analogy of these quantities with a rotational motion, that means in all three quantities one term is common, means mass is common, means no doubt force, mass into acceleration, linear momentum, mass into velocity, and another quantity, here we go through force, kinetic energy half mv square. Mass is a common term in all these three quantities. So we have to need to give certain physical quantity which is related with mass, and it shows the rotational motion. Thereafter we go through another example. When we open or close the door, then we produce angular displacement in that door. This effect produced in the door depends upon mass of the door, no doubt. Greater the mass of the door, then more force should be needed. But another observation is also there. Then it depends upon mass, no doubt, but another factor is also included in it or involved in it. Which factor it is? Means from which distance, we say perpendicular distance, we apply a force. Then when it is seen that when we apply a force near to hinges or axis of rotation, more force should be needed. But when we apply a force at its edge, a less force should be needed. Means in this turning effect, a certain quantity which is related with mass, this quantity depends upon mass on mass as well as a distribution or distance-wise distribution of mass from the axis of rotation. To find the exact relationship between mass and linear momentum, mass and this quantity, we come across the expression for a rotational kinetic energy. Means actually rotational kinetic energy of the body is nothing but the sum of translational kinetic energies of individual particles. Let us see. Suppose we consider a example of fan which is rotating with uniform angular speed. Same situation here in the figure. Look this figure, in this figure, a rigid object is shown which is rotating about an axis perpendicular to the boat with uniform angular velocity omega. For simplicity or for calculation purpose, this rigid object is divided into n number of particles, finite number of particles. Say their masses are m1, m2, m3 up to mn. And their perpendicular distances from axis of rotations are r1, r2, r3 up to rn respectively. Then as this rigid body rotates, one observation is that each particle performs uniform circular motion having constant angular velocity, but their linear velocities are different. How? Let us see. Suppose we consider the example of fan near the axis of rotation. Particles are close to axis, so their distances from axis of rotation is less. No doubt, this particles distance is less, so their velocity, that means we know that v equals to r omega. Then as distance is less, then their angular velocity is more. Angular velocity is more. Means, that means, but some particles are there away from the axis of rotation. Their distances are more. No doubt, the distance is, omega is a constant, then distance is less, then their linear speed is less near the axis of rotation. But when we take the particles away from the axis of rotations, then their distances goes on increasing. No doubt, velocity also increases because omega is a constant. Then v equal to r omega, we consider v is directly proportional to r. Then one thing should be there, the particles which are closer to axis of rotation are the lazy particles. Their linear speed is less, but the particles at the edge, they are the busy particles, not the lazy particles, and they are moving fasterly. Now look the thing, here as this rigid body rotates, each particle revolves in a circle, and all are in uniform circular motion, no doubt. But they are having a constant angular speed, but their linear speed is different. Let us consider their linear speeds can be taken as v1 equals to r1 omega 1, v2 equals to r2 omega 2, and up to vn equals to rn omega. Thereafter, rn omega. Thereafter, we go through translational motion of the translational kinetic energy of a first particle. We know kinetic energy equals to half mv square. The first particle is having a mass m1 and its linear speed is v1. So its kinetic energy can be taken as half m1 v1 square. Then v1 is substituted as a r1 omega. Then you can take this equation like as half m1 r1 square omega square. Similarly, we can take the translational kinetic energies of other particles like as half m1 m2 r2 square omega square, m3 half m3 r3 square omega omega square, and so on. Thereafter, then thus the rotational kinetic energy of the object. How we can take it? We take the vector sum of the, algebraic sum of all translational kinetic energies of individual particles. Now look here, means rotational kinetic energy of the object is, which is equal to translational kinetic energy of first particle plus translational kinetic energy of second particle, and so on. Thereafter, in this expression, half is common and omega square is also common because speed is same. So take the common both terms, means half is common and omega square is common. Then you can take here half I into omega square, where I is substituted as I equals to m1 r1 square, m2 r2 square plus up to mn rn square. Or you, in mathematical notation, you can take summation of I varies from 1 to n mi ri square. Then this quantity, look here, when we compare this equation half I omega square with a translational kinetic energy half mv square. Then this omega is the angular speed. It is replaced by a linear speed v. And here I is the quantity which is replaced by mass. Means here the replaces mass m and angular speed omega replaces linear speed v. So a rotational kinetic energy is half I omega square. Then from this one thing should be clear, that in order to express the kinetic energy in rotational motion, then mass is replaced by moment of inertia or rotational inertia. Then question arises, why it is called as a rotational inertia or moment of inertia? Do you know inertia? Meaning inertia is nothing but it is the reluctance or tendency of a body to maintain its state of rest or of uniform motion as per concern to translational motion. Then body opposes any change in its state of rest or of uniform motion. Means we know that, and here suppose we consider you are in the bus and bus is at rest, you are also at rest. You are not having tendency to go along with the bus. So what happens there then? When bus starts, you move backward because of your inertia. You are not having tendency to move along with the bus. But suppose this bus is moving with uniform velocity, and suddenly, and you are also moving with uniform velocity or uniform speed, and suppose bus suddenly stops when driver applies a brake. Then as bus suddenly stops, you are not having tendency to come into rest. So you move forward because of your inertia. And one thing should be there. This inertia depends upon the mass, or mass represents the inertia of the body. Greater the mass of the body, more the inertia. Means here in this case, suppose to displace this pen, I am conveniently to displace this pen, but suppose I am taking bench or desk, it is not necessary, it is not possible to displace easily. More force should be needed. Mean greater the mass, more the inertia. Less the mass, less the inertia. No doubt it is a translational inertia when body is in translational motion. But when body is in rotational motion, it is also having a inertia. This inertia is called as a rotational inertia or moment of inertia. Means when even if switch is off, fan is not comes to rest immediately. It takes certain time because this fan is having tendency to maintain its state of rotation. Means it is a rotational inertia. Means moment of inertia is the quantity which is inertia of a body in state of rotation. Then this moment of inertia depends upon which factors? It depends upon mass of the body, no doubt, as well as it also depends upon a distribution of mass from the axis of rotation. How particles are situated away from the axis of rotation. Then we know that mass of the body is an absolute quantity. It remains constant. It is not changeable with time and place. But look the thing, a rotational inertia is a changeable quantity. Suppose we consider a same body, when it rotates in this way and when it rotates in this way, or simply I am saying any person rotating stick like X, then you can easily stop it. But when this person moves this stick like X, then what happens? It is not possible to you to stop it. Why? In this case, look here, in both cases, angular speed is same. But which thing is changed? Here, in this case, as it rotates, the distribution of mass is closer to axis of rotation. And as distribution of mass is closer to axis of rotation, no doubt, its inertia is less. So, you can easily stop it. But this person moving his stick in this way, then it is not possible to stop it. Why? In this case, like as in this case, what happens there then? Here, distribution of mass is far away from the axis of rotation. So, moment of inertia goes on increasing. And as moment of inertia means this inertia increases, so it relucts or opposes more to stop. Its state of rotation. Simple thing is there, means if we consider a single body, its moment of inertia is mass is same everywhere, but its moment of inertia is not constant because it is depends upon the axis of rotation which it turns. Means suppose we consider this pen, its moment of inertia along this axis is less because axis of rotation, all the mass is distributed closer to axis of rotation. I mean, look here, for this formula you can understand this thing. I equals to m1 r1 square m2 r2 square plus up to here. These masses of each particles are same, but distance square is there and they are different. So moment of inertia is less. But look, I am rotating this pen like X along this axis and from the end. Then what happened there then? Here distribution of mass is more separated. Mass of each particle remains same. But look, the distance from the axis of rotation goes on increasing. So these distance squares are there. That's why moment of inertia is also goes on increasing. Simple thing is there, means we understood two things. Moment of inertia is depends upon the mass as well as distribution of mass from the axis of rotation. And another aspect is also there. This moment of inertia is also depends upon axis of rotation. For the same body, if the axis of rotation is different, then moment of inertia is also different. Okay? Thereafter we go through another thing. Then how we can calculate the moment of inertia of the bodies. Suppose some bodies are mathematically integrable. Means just like as suppose I am taking such type of ring is there, it is uniform, then it is mathematically integrable. Suppose we take a disc like as, it is also mathematically integrable. Or another quantity is there, another shape is there supposed to be a cylindrical shape, then it is also mathematically integrable. Means solid cylinder, hollow cylinder, solid sphere, hollow sphere, cone. These are the mathematical integrable shapes. We can find out this moment of inertia of such bodies theoretically. How we can find out this moment of inertia? We assume these bodies are just like as this moment of inertia can be taken as here I am taking here. Suppose we consider these bodies are made up of infinite number of small elements. Let us consider any one small element whose mass is dm, and this mass is very small, and its perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation is r. Then we take the moment of inertia of that small element, means r square dm, and when we take the integration or summation or integration, we consider by integrating we get the moment of inertia of that body Which bodies? These bodies are mathematically integrable geometric shapes. I am telling which are them. Then, but some bodies are there. They are not regular shapes. It's asymmetric shapes. Suppose I am taking this body, it is not having a regular shape. Then, or this body is there, here is not having regular shape. Then how we can calculate the moment of inertia? Then it is not possible to calculate their moment of inertia theoretically or by any expression. But this moment of inertia can be calculated with the help of experiment. Then we consider about some physical some shapes whose moment of inertia can be determined. First shape we considered about. Next. Moment of inertia of a uniform ring. Then question is what is the uniform ring? Then a ring is an object. It is a two-dimensional object. Ring is a two-dimensional object just like us, whose total mass is concentrated on its circumference. Total mass is concentrated on its circumference. And its thickness is negligible. When we can take a thickness negligible, then we assume to be it is a two-dimensional. Then look here, when we consider this ring, here I am taking here three-dimensional figure, but for my convenience I am taking here two-dimensional figure also like X. and here is the axis of rotation perpendicular to its. Then look here, this ring is, we take here, let us consider any one small element of the ring. Say any one small element of the ring. This element is there supposed to be, whose mass is look, this element whose mass is dm supposed to be, and its perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation is r. Then we take the moment of inertia of that small element of the ring. Look, this small element of the ring. We take the moment of inertia of this small element. How we can take it? dm into r square. Again we take another small element, dm, whose moment of inertia is again dm into r square. And when we take a total moment of inertia, then we take simply a integration of a dm r square. But we know that r is capital here. Then we know that this r is, look here, this here r is a constant. So take outside the integration and integration of dm. And this integration of dm means total mass of the ring. And this total mass of the ring can be taken as directly, we take m r square. Okay? Or directly in your book, such type of expression should be there in old books. But in your book, directly they suggested that total mass is concentrated on the circumference and it is at fixed distance, r means radius, from the axis of rotation. So we can take moment of inertia directly, I equals to m r square, about an axis perpendicular to its plane and passing through the center like x, or here as shown in the figure. It is a 3-dimensional case and it is a 2-dimensional one. Now in this way we can calculate the moment of inertia of the ring. Thereafter we want to calculate the moment of inertia of the disk. Means, look here, disk means what? It is a object, circular object we consider, whose mass is uniformly distributed over its surface. When we consider a uniform disk, not uniform disk, means mass is uniformly distributed over its circumference. Then in this disk, means we considered a surface density of the disk is constant. Then question arises, what is the surface density? Surface density is nothing but the mass upon area. Means when the shape is uniform or uniform disk is taken, negligible thickness, no dimension, it is a 2-dimensional case is there. Then what happens there then? Surface density is constant. Surface density is constant means mass per unit area is constant at any instant. Then look the thing, here we take a circle, actually it is a 3-dimensional case we consider, means this disk is rotating in this way, like x, about this axis. Which axis it is? It is an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane. Then look the thing, here consider a uniform disk of mass m and radius r, which is rotating about an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane. Then to calculate the moment of inertia, what is our theme? Take the moment of inertia of the small element. Thereafter integrating, we get the moment of inertia of the whole body. Then look the things. Here, then we have been careful observation suggested that when we join small rings together and together, then we get a disk. This ring should be same centered. As in jewelry shop, you see the different number of rings are there, and they are inserted one another, small, big, 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 and thereafter it appears as a disk. It appears as a disk. I mean, look here, when we consider the number of concentric rings or join or increasing radius, or then this disk is made up of number of concentric rings. Let us consider any one ring. Let us consider any one ring. whose thickness is dr. No, and which distance from the axis of rotation is r. Here I am taking a small ring here. Here small ring is there, whose thickness is dr and whose distance from the axis of rotation is smaller. Then note that this thickness dr is very, very small. Very small means it is near to least count of the apparatus or instrument which is used for measurement of the r. Means suppose we measure the r with the help of scale, our scale. Then we know that least count of our scale is 1 millimeter. Then this 1 millimeter is the thickness of the ring. But suppose we measure this r with the help of vernier caliper. Then least count of, that means here thickness is 0.01. That means 0.01 centimeter or 1/10 of centimeter. 0.01 centimeter. So dr is very, very small. Then look the thing. Surface density of the disk can be taken as sigma equals to mass upon surface area of the disk. And you know that surface area of the disk is pi r square. R is the radius and m is the mass. So you can take here m upon pi r square. Then we come across the area of the ring. Area of this ring. How we can take it? Circumference into thickness. This circumference of the ring is 2 pi r. Means here r is the average radius. When we see dr is a very, very small. So r is the average radius. So we can take here a equals to 2 pi r into dr. And thereafter, therefore, we can take here, here sigma equals to surface density of the ring. Mass of the ring, dm, divided by its area, surface area. Means dm upon 2 pi r dr. That means dm can be taken as 2 pi sigma r dr. Means mass of the ring is converted into form of r and dr variables. And thereafter, we get the mass of the ring. Thereafter, then moment of inertia of the ring. How we can calculate it? Mass of the ring into square distance. And thereafter, moment of inertia of the disk can be taken as integration of this term. Integration of IR. Integration of IR means मोठं करायचं होतं मोठं. Okay. Look the thing. Here I can be taken as I equals to integration of IR. What are the limits of the integration? Smaller ring is closer to axis of rotation, means at zero distance. Look here at zero distance. But as these rings are and larger ring or larger radius ring is at the rim. So what are the limits of the integration? 0 to r IR. 0 to r IR. So we can take here 0 to r dm into r square. 0 to r dm into r square. Then we know dm equals to what? 2 pi sigma r into dr. Then 2 pi sigma into dr into r square is as it is. Then r square into r can be taken as r cube. 2 pi sigma is taken common outside the integration. And thereafter we know the integration of r cube. It is r raised to 4 by 4. And thereafter putting the limits of the integration, upper limit is r and lower limit is 0. Then we can directly take here 2 pi sigma r raised to 4 upon 4. And you can take here which is equals to 2 pi, here sigma is taken as mass upon pi r square from above equation. And thereafter you can take here r raised to 4 upon 4. Then r square gets cancelled. Then you can take here half m r square. It is the moment of inertia of the disk. Notable thing is that if we consider the same mass and same radius ring and disk, then what happens? Moment of inertia of the ring is greater because it is mr square. And moment of inertia of the ring is less, disk is less. It is half directly to that of moment of inertia of the ring. Why? Then in the ring, a distribution of mass is far away. And in the disk, the distribution of mass is closer to, starting from 0 point up to rim. But for this ring, it is only at the rim. One question is there. That means why a wheel of the cycle is having a spokes and rim. Not this wheel of the cycle is not made up of a disk. Think about it and try to give the answer of this question. Okay. Thereafter we are going forward. Another thing. A radius of gyration. Then one thing should be there. The moment of inertia of the body is depends upon two factors: mass of the body and distribution of mass from the axis of rotation. But when we take the concept of radius of gyration, we can separate the mass of the body and distribution of mass, or we are only interested in taking a distribution of mass, then moment of inertia can be stated as I equals to mk square. Directly you can take here I equals to mk square. Means here m is the mass of the body and k is the effective distance from which this mass of the body is rotated. Then this k is called as a radius of gyration. This, with the help of this concept, we can separate mass and distance separately. Okay, let us see. That means here k is defined as a radius of gyration. With the help of k, we can manage how mass is distributed from the axis of rotation. Mean k, larger the value of k, no doubt moment of inertia is more. Means a distribution of mass is far away from the axis of rotation. And when k is small, then we say that moment of inertia is small and distribution is close to axis of rotation. Close to axis of rotation. Then we go through last two examples. A disk and a ring. For the disk, I am taking here, look here, for the disk and for the ring, first we consider mr square equals to m k kr square. So kr equals to what? Kr equals to what? How we can take this kr equals to r upon here r up here only r, means radius of gyration of the ring is r. But suppose we considered another thing, mr square by 2. It is the moment of inertia of the disk, which is equal to m kd square. Then kd equals to what? R upon root 2. From this it is clear that the radius of gyration of the ring is r, but radius of the gyration of the disk is r by root 2. Means radius of gyration of the disk is less as compared to radius of gyration of the ring. So we can say that distribution for the ring is away from the axis of rotation as stated earlier, and for the disk distribution is close to axis of rotation. Mean with the help of concept of radius of gyration, we can explain how mass is distributed from axis of rotation. And thereafter, then k is nothing but the distance. And one definition is there not included in your syllabus. Means the radius of gyration of a body about given body or object about given axis of rotation is defined as the distance between axis of rotation and the point at which whole mass of the body can be supposed to be concentrated so as to possess same moment of inertia as that of the body. Okay, that's all about it. In this chapter, in this topic, we studied about rotational kinetic energy, moment of inertia, as well as moment of inertia of two bodies like as ring and disk. And thereafter, we see about a radius of gyration. Students are advised to calculate the moment of inertia for another bodies like as a rod, a metal plate, or solid cylinder, hollow cylinder, solid sphere, hollow sphere. How we can calculate the moment of inertia of these bodies? They are having a regular shape. Okay, that's all about it. Thank you, students.